Hey, how are you? Good to see you again. Happy Wednesday. It's the 10th day of March, 2021. We've made it to double figures in this month. Feeling pretty good. Lots to get to today. Don't even know where to begin. We'll start with our guest. How about that? Eric West is the marketing director of Link Transit. He came by, paid me a visit. Always good to see Eric. Of course, Link Transit has a survey out there now they'd like you to take, even if you don't even use Link. Link is for everybody, and you never know. You may have to use Link one day, even if you don't. And you're thinking about changing some routes around, making it easier to go from, say, Chelan to Leavenworth if you need to, stuff like that. They want you to take a survey and chime in on future routes and certain phases of Link Transit's services here in the Wenatchee Valley. We'll talk about that with Eric when we get to the back half of the show. Highlights from Gonzaga, the men's and the ladies, both won. Wasn't easy. For the ladies, it was a last-second shot. For the men, they fell behind early against BYU, but they came back and won. So both the ladies' Zags and the men's Zags have won the WCC tournament. We'll have highlights. Also highlights of last night's very exciting soccer match between the Wenatchee Panthers and the Cascade Kodiaks when we get to sports. And we'll have everything else that you need to start your day. Beautiful morning, a little on the chilly side, 30 degrees, clear skies, sunshine. And we are looking good. Let's go ahead and take our tour around north central Washington. Is that not drop dead gorgeous or what? Look at that. That's from our cross camera, of course. That camera, if it looks a little nicer than the other cameras, there's a reason for that. It's a 4K camera, 4 times the resolution of a regular high definition camera, which in and of itself looks pretty darn good to me. But we say good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. The sun has been up for a while now, about a half an hour. Sun came up at 6:23, sunset tonight at 6 o'clock sharp, 11 hours and 37 minutes of daylight. We're getting a lot more daylight on a daily basis. And of course, come daylight saving time on Sunday, sunrise will be an hour later and sunset will be an hour later, as we only get 23 hours in the day on Sunday. Beautiful view of the valley proper from our cross camera. And now it's Megan's Choice. And here we go. We're off to Omi Gardens. The Omi Gardens camera looking down to Rocky Reach Dam, Lake Antiat, the reservoir behind Rocky Reach Dam. Beautiful view there. As you can see the sun starting to get the job done. You folks in the Waterville Plateau area, by the way, you could still get maybe an isolated raindrop or two. There's a weak little system that's going to kind of exit the area. Could give us some passing clouds and a couple of light raindrops in many locations. Probably not here in the Wenatchee Valley, but you folks up north, you could get a light raindrop later on today, although it looks pretty good to me right now. Camera 3. Ooh, beautiful. Union Valley? Hey, Union Valley. I got it right. High above the north shore of Lake Chelan. I think she has that pointed to the southwest, I'm guessing. That's a pretty good guess. Union Valley is a big area up there. A lot of orchards. Beautiful view of Union Valley. We had to move that camera a couple of years ago. It was about a mile closer to Chelan. Now it's a little bit farther towards the Manson area. Either way you look at it, stunning view from the Union Valley camera, high above the north shore of Lake Chelan, and camera number 4. Billy Goat. Good to see Billy Goat again. Hi. Okanagan Valley. Good morning, Pateris. You're down there in the bottom of your screen. Brewster, about in the middle of your screen. Bridgeport, hid behind that big ridge that you see to your right. If you squint, you can see Omak and Okanagan. If you squint really hard, you can see Canada. And if you squint really, really, really hard, you can see Calgary. I'm kidding. It's a good camera. It's not that good. And the mighty Columbia rolls right along on this Wednesday morning. Just a friendly reminder about daylight saving time. Yep, it's that time of the year again. On Sunday, March 14th at 2 o'clock in the morning, it ain't going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. It'll be 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, nowadays, of course, you don't have to change your clocks. Your phone, your computer, your smart TV, your cable box, your microwave, your coffee maker, pretty much every clock that you have around your house, if it's, any electronic device that keeps track of time, it's going to change itself. Outside of that, when you get up on, you can either do it when you go to bed Saturday night or when you get up Sunday morning, move your clocks forward 1 hour. I don't know why we do it. Well, I do know why we do it, but we shouldn't be doing it. It's silly. It's time is something that humans invented for the most part, and we just can't seem to resist playing around with it. Of course, here on the West Coast, California, Oregon, and Washington have passed resolutions to do away with changing of the clocks twice a year, but that's a federal law. They can just ask the federal government to make that happen, but it's the feds, it's the Congress that has to make up the final decision there, and they got apparently other things to do. I'm not sure. From the National Weather Service, here's your forecast. A little bit warmer than yesterday. Our high on Tuesday and our low, our high and low yesterday, 49 and 28. Normally 51 and 33, a little bit cooler. Friendly reminder, I was looking at some of our archives. 1 year ago today, March 10th of 2020, snowing and 32 degrees. So be happy with that. Sunshine today, 54. Look at Friday, 57. Look at Saturday, 58. Clear skies means pretty chilly overnight low, but there's a ridge of high pressure. It's going to be in place, and it's going to lead to very quiet and pleasant weather until we get to maybe Sunday. Little bit of a raindrop possible on Sunday. Still going to see some sun breaks on Sunday, but can't rule out a light raindrop in the wee small hours of Sunday. Outside of that, we are looking good. And again, just a quick heads up to the northeast of us in our viewing area, you could get an isolated shower later on this afternoon. So probably not here in the Wenatchee Valley, but don't be surprised if you see a passing cloud or two. Dropping some rain up in the Waterville area and up in the Omak, Okanagan area. Maybe even Chelan might get a little bit of precipitation. Let's go to the major mountain passes. There's just one advisory, and that ain't it. There's Snoqualmie. You're fine there. No advisories, no restrictions. Roadway bare and dry. But there is a traction tire advisory on Stevens. They had a little skiff of snow come through in the overnight hours. There's still lots of pavement for you and your tires to get to know each other, but there's enough compact snow and ice on the roadway right at the summit of Stevens, so they have a traction tire advisory. Most of US 2, you're not going to have any problems at all. And Blewett, you're fine. Roadway is bare and dry. They haven't had any precipitation up there in quite some time. As far as snow in the mountain passes today, none. Just a little bit of light, occasional snowflake, and that's really it. There's no significant weather event coming to the mountain passes at all right through the rest of the week and really into the weekend. Man, have they had a lot of snow in the Cascades this year. 8 minutes after the hour, grab your cup of coffee, your Danish, or whatever it may be, and come back and see me in 1 minute, and I'll give you the information you need to start your Wednesday. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra's third concert is a musical potpourri, a la carte. Be sure to tune in for this one-time broadcast Saturday at 7 o'clock on the NCW Live channel. It's brought to you by Silvara Cellars, Guild Mortgage, Volan Law Firm, Cashmere Veterinary Clinic, Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce, Harvest Valley Pest Control, Prime Lending, Leavenworth Haas Apartment Homes, and Greater Leavenworth Museum. Tune in Saturday at 7 o'clock for the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra's third concert on the NCW Live channel.
Not a cloud in the sky that I can see. 30 degrees, sunshine, lower 50s. We do it again on Thursday, and on Friday we'll be kissing 60 degrees by the time we get to Saturday, and then a few clouds come back come Sunday. 9 minutes after the hour, here are your headlines. A woman passenger in a vehicle that was fleeing police just south of Ephrata. This happened early yesterday morning. That woman passenger was killed when the vehicle lost control and rolled. Kyle Foreman is with the Grant County Sheriff's Office, and he explains what happened.
At about 2:30 this morning, an Ephrata police officer was responding to a report of a suspicious person in the Swanson Addition neighborhood of Ephrata. When the officer arrived there, he saw a suspicious person who then got into a vehicle and fled out of Ephrata at high speed. The vehicle traveled south on Dodson Road police were quite a distance behind trying to catch up, and the vehicle that they were chasing lost control at about road 12.8 northwest, rolled off the roadway, and crashed into a yard. There was one person who was deceased at the scene. We were originally looking for the driver of the vehicle or another person that we thought was in the vehicle. We believe we found that person as well as another occupant that was in the vehicle, and one of those people is being interviewed by detectives right now. The other person is being tended to by EMTs. So right now, Dodson Road between Road 14 and Neva Lake Road will be closed for some time this morning while the crash investigation team is out here conducting measurements and gathering data.
The Rock Island man who stashed nearly 2 pounds of heroin in his yard waste pile last year was sentenced this week to a year in prison. 45-year-old Jose Villanueva Montez, he pled guilty Monday to conspiracy to deliver a controlled substance and drug possession with intent to sell. The Columbia River Drug Task Force searched Villanueva's home in the 500 block of 2nd Street Southeast back in June of last year. They found the heroin plus 14 ounces of methamphetamine hidden among grass clippings in the backyard of his home. He allegedly sold drugs to a police informant. He has no prior felonies on his record. 12 months is the low end of the standard range for a conspiracy conviction. East Wenatchee police say a domestic violence report on Sunday afternoon led to a brief standoff, the suspect refusing to let family members leave the home. 53-year-old Andrew G. Leach faces possible charges, including assault, threats to kill, and unlawful imprisonment. Police say they were called to the home in the 200 block of 1st Street Southeast shortly after 1 o'clock. Again, this was on Sunday afternoon. That's when Leach allegedly assaulted 2 relatives. Once there, they say he refused to leave the home and tried to restrain others from leaving the home as well. Police say they forced their way inside, used a taser to overpower Leach. A judge on Monday allowed him to go free without bond, but he ordered Leach not to approach the alleged victims. Residents of the city of Wenatchee can now choose to switch to a smaller garbage can that can help them avoid a May 1st rate increase for garbage services. The city of Wenatchee and Waste Management are asking people to choose by April 9th between a 35, 64, or the current 96-gallon garbage can. Now, the cost per month is $16.80 for the 35-gallon can, $21.65 for a 64-gallon can, and $26.69 for the 96-gallon can. Residents currently pay $21.31 a month for their 96-gallon can. Anybody who wants to keep their current 96-gallon can, you don't have to make a choice. It just stays automatic. You can select the size of the can that you want by emailing Waste Management or giving them a call at 662-4591. As more and more people become eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, the administrator of the Chelan-Douglas Health District said the mass vaccination site at the Town Toyota Center in Wenatchee well prepared. Luke Davies said the successful operation of the site has become a model not only for the state, but for the rest of the country. Luke was my guest on yesterday's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and he talked about the keys to their success.
It's a massive success story, and I think one of the things to put in perspective, other mass vac sites across the state have had an incredible amount of issues. Individuals coming up and throwing rocks, having to be shut down for multiple days, not getting enough boosters, getting them out. It's no small thing when I state that we are running the model for mass vaccination, not only for Washington State, but across the country. We've been getting attention from CDC, we've been getting attention from different states, and they've been, going, what are you doing? How are you making this different? And the simplest answer I have is partnership and local teamwork. We worked really closely with the Town Toyota Center, with Confluence Health, Lifeline EMS, as well as the Department of Health and National Guard and all of our partners down there to be able to have an extremely efficient and smooth running operation. We pulled in for our incident management team. We pulled in people from Chelan Fire District, Leavenworth Fire. They've been instrumental in being able to help us put this thing together in a way that makes sense for our population and is relatively smooth and painless.
The Douglas County PUD officially broke ground on Monday on its planned renewable hydrogen facility. This is out in the Baker Flats area. The plant is a pilot project that could turn out more than 2 tons of hydrogen per day. That would be for industrial use, including hydrogen fuel cars. At the ceremony, General Manager Gary Ivory said the PUD is rolling the dice on hydrogen as a future source of both energy and income.
Douglas PUD has always been an innovator in the utility industry. We started by taking a huge risk to build a hydroelectric dam on the Columbia River. At the time the dam was built, the power produced by our own dam was more expensive than the power we could buy from the Bonneville Power Administration, and so we didn't even use our own power until the early 80s. Then 20 years ago, Douglas PUD was the first PUD in the state to see a need for broadband. We started a broadband network for our customers, so they see us as innovative, and as the state begins to look toward low and zero emission technologies, we think that our customer owners will trust that their local PUD will make the investments to be prepared for the future. This hydrogen technology will create efficiencies for the district and help solve many problems for us. We've got a lot of people to thank for this. In 2019, Senator Hawkins helped us with Senate Bill 5588 that was unanimously passed by the legislature to give PUDs the authority to produce and distribute hydrogen. Cummins, who has historically been a diesel engine manufacturer, is the company that will be producing our electrolysis equipment. And we'd also like to thank Bonneville Environmental Foundation, Toyota Motor Company, the Renewable Hydrogen Alliance, and the Washington State University Hydrogen Research Lab, and many other people for their interest and help in our project.
Finally this morning, we're number 1. Again, Washington State ranked as the best in the nation by U.S. News and World Report in a new report that was released on Monday. The publication annually ranks all 50 states across a bunch of different categories: healthcare, opportunity, the economy, education. Washington State ranked first for broadband access and GDP growth. They tied for first for government credit rating scores and ranking in the top 10 in 5 other categories. This is the second year in a row, by the way. Washington State came in number 1 in the U.S. News and World Report rankings. That's the news at 18 minutes after the hour. Grant handles the anchoring duties, also does a little weather forecasting because he's good at both. With a preview of tonight's news, here's Grant Olson.
Thanks and good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, get ready for a quiet and absolutely beautiful North Central Washington weather forecast right through the upcoming weekend. I'll have the details, and in sports, Eric Granstrom will have highlights and reaction to last night's Cascade Wenatchee soccer match. That and all the day's news stories coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
I make a point to watch the news, and don't forget you can watch the news anytime you want on your smart device. You're not locked into those times to watch it on TV. You can watch it right around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll have it up and running. You can watch it on our website, on our YouTube page, whatever is most convenient for you to watch the news. And don't forget to get a hold of us. If you got a news tip, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at news@ncwlife.com. You can use our Facebook page. You can use our telephone number. You can use our website. There you go. We'd love to hear from our viewers. Going to take a break. It wasn't easy, but when we come back, the men and the lady Gonzaga Bulldogs are tournament champions. Highlights coming up. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. Looking for great food that's also an experience? Come on out to Blueberry Hills in Manson. Open year-round and named one of the top 4 restaurants in the state worth the drive for breakfast by the Seattle Times. Serving down-home scratch country cooking with huge portions at family-friendly prices. Great food and a fun experience for the whole family, and definitely worth the drive. For more information, check our website at wildaboutberries.com.
Today we're doing some employee development with our technicians.
Today we're going to learn how to give a home a hug.
It's not just a motto, but a unique way that Patriot technicians care for your home.
Oh, no, come on. You really got to get in there and get your arms around it, give it a good embrace. All right, hey, good job.
I think the training is going really well.
heating and cooling. We'll give your home a hug.
20 minutes after the hour, sports. It was a little dicey in the first half. Gonzaga down by 13 to BYU, but they came all the way back, and they are the champions of the WCC tournament. They knocked off the Cougars the final last night, 88-78. Corey Kispert started the second half charge for the Zags. Jalen Suggs finished it. The two combined for 40 points on the night.
Well, they're asking Lohner, because Kispert's playing the 4 right now. They're asking Lohner to guard him, and he can't guard him. Corey Kispert is another one.
It's 2.
Suggs. I think Suggs came over and affected that. He went way up in the air. Now Kispert, blocking foul, count the basket, chance for a 3-point play. Maybe lost sort of the geography of where he was on the court. Here's Nell. 3 goes down. Big shot to tie the game. Emhart weaving his way through. Picked up that dribble, though. Suggs 3. Another one for Jalen Suggs. Here he is. Behind the back dribble for 3. Yes!
Stop it, Dave. Are you kidding me?
He'll start to celebrate. What a career in the West Coast Conference tournament for Corey Kispert, and what a performance tonight from Jalen Suggs. BYU gave it their absolute best shot and still came up 10 points short.
Gonzaga coach Mark Fuse said, hey, our team needed a test like that, so we're ready to go for the NCAA tournament.
They really took the fight to us, especially in that first 20 minutes, and we couldn't stop them. They had us on roller skates, and just were out competing us and beating us to balls, but also just executing their offense and making big shots. And I think they showed themselves to be a heck of a team and a top 25 level team. But I'm proud of us. We needed a game like that. We hit some adversity and we got punched in the face, and you know, we got together at halftime and just got back to sticking with the plan. And the guys came out and played fantastic defense in the second half. And obviously our offense got going because of our defense, and we were able to get a good win.
All 5 Gonzaga starters once again ended up in double digits. Jalen Suggs led the way, 23 points. The freshman was all smiles after Gonzaga won their second straight WCC tournament title.
This was great. This whole season has been a challenge, but every single one of us on the roster and on the coaching staff have answered to it. You know, we all come in every day ready to work, and I mean, it was so much fun out there tonight. Like Coach said, we needed one of those, and you know, just to let us know that anybody can be beat on any given night. So we got to come out and hope. But the way we stuck together and the way everybody kept, each other motivated, and you know, the talk, especially that we had in the second half, I mean, that's the best talk that we've had all year, honestly. Man, I haven't stopped smiling since the confetti started falling. So no, it was a great night.
Joel Ayayi had a good day, 18 points. Corey Kispert, 17 points. Zags, 26-0, and it's off to the NCAA tournament. Okanagan's Jill Townsend hit the buzzer beater at the very end. Gonzaga beats BYU 43-42. They are the women's champion of the WCC tournament. Townsend and a number of other Bulldogs came down with food poisoning on Monday night. In fact, the senior guard didn't even start yesterday's championship. The only basket she hit, the game winner.
He's playing with 2 personal fouls right now. Shot clock being counted down. Harding, a nice look. Wow.
She played so well yesterday. Knocked down 3 threes. That would also give Gonzaga space on the offensive end, but they're able to finish there. Played aggressive and made some big plays.
Shot clock winding down. Do you get a bounce? Wow, bounce for Shaylee Gonzalez. Nice backdoor cut. What a huge play on the out of bounds by Shaylee Gonzalez.
Team's so important with baseline out of bounds.
Townsend. Oh, she got it! They'll look at it. Of course they'll look at it.
Coach Jill Fortier said the win proves the mental and physical toughness of Gonzaga.
It's awesome to do this. It's a lot of fun. There are some people on our team, a lot of them actually, who haven't gotten to celebrate down here in Vegas, and some of them who have, and they know how exciting it is. But I'm just really proud of how tough our team was today. We had a long, long day. And, Townie made the most important shot, or the most memorable shot, maybe we should say, of the game. But it was the 18 minutes prior to that she was gutsy, and Sierra was gutsy. And we had 3 people who'd never started a game today starting for us. So those guys were gutsy, and everything in between. So just really happy for our team and how we are resilient and tough and gritty and all things that say, I'm a Zag, and I'm going to show you what that means if you don't know.
Jill Townsend didn't even know if she was going to be able to play yesterday, much less make the game-winning shot.
It was a long day. Really no other words about it. I kind of got the food poisoning last night late, and some other teammates also did. And so, we just tried to battle through that as hard as we could. Just kudos to our trainer, Kendall, and our team doctor, Molly. They were up all night just with us, getting us fluids. I had an IV. I went to 2 bags of IV fluid an hour before the game. I know C did, and they're working overtime just to get us feeling okay enough to go out there and put some minutes on the court. We weren't sure how many minutes me and C were going to be able to do, but we just knew that anytime that we were going to go out there, we were going to give 110%, and whatever was left in our tank, we were going to just try to leave it out there on the floor for the team, and just try to do as little as we can to make their lives a little bit easier. And then, it wasn't our prettiest game at all. It wasn't my prettiest game at all, but I think when the chips were down and we needed to rally, our team just showed incredible grit and toughness and resilience, and I couldn't be more proud of them. It wasn't just the shot I hit, it was everything that happened before to get us in that position. Yvonne getting that huge jump ball rebound right before so we can get that shot, her takes. Jen was a monster on the glass also. So, it was a team effort, and it was incredible.
For the Lady Zags, it's their first WCC tournament title since 2018. We had a feeling that last night's prep soccer match between the Panthers and the Cascade Kodiaks was going to be a good one, and it was a good one. After a scoreless first half, Wenatchee scored the game's only goal in the 70 minutes after a steal by Giselle Sanchez Blanco, who then fed her sister Yarli, Sebastian Moraga. Matt Wisen had the call last night right here on the NCW Live channel.
Oh, a takeaway inside the box. Yareli Sanchez Blanco, right-footed shot. Goal, 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 goal. And the Wenatchee Panthers take the lead. 1-0. 11 minutes, 11 seconds left in the second half. Yareli Sanchez Blanco takes care of a mistake by the back line of the Kodiaks, and the Panthers jump in front. So yeah, it's very easy to let your mind wander. And a shot across. Now this could be interesting. Let's see what happens. Oh my goodness, that was the tying tally for the Kodiaks. Sanchez Blanco first on it, however, Cascade. And there's the whistle that tells us that this game is in the books, with Wenatchee taking this one by a score of 1-0 over the Cascade Kodiaks.
Honestly, we just keep each other in check, and we have this metaphor. It's the green dot, and if you haven't seen our pennies, they're green, and I don't know, this metaphor of the green dot just means go, go, go. And if you say green dot, that means hey, get your stuff going and let's go and make a goal, or let's go and attack, So we've been using that as just something to fall back on, just in case, we're not bringing the energy up. So that's something that's been helping us through that.
Wenatchee improves to 3-1 of the season. Cascade drops to 2-1 on the young year. Other action on Tuesday, it was another hat trick for Jaden Brown. Eastmont, no problems with Kashmir. The Wildcats 4-0 now with the victory. Royal led Chelan 3-2. Okanagan upended Omak 8-1. Tanaska took it to Liberty Bell 8-0, and Ephrata squeaked past Quincy 3-2. And by the way, the Mariners won for just the second time in spring training. They've had a lot of tie games. Dylan Moore and Ty France started the game off with back-to-back home runs. They beat Kansas City. The final was 6-3. There you go. By the way, Seattle will host Texas today at 12:10. 22 days until opening day of the baseball season. I keep track. It's the bottom of the hour. The obscure holiday today is National Pack Your Lunch Day. Save yourself a little time, treat your body a little nicer instead of going out to eat. Bring your lunch with you. There's any number of advantages. Number one, eating out for lunch every day can be a real budget buster. And of course, another benefit of making your own lunch and bringing it to work is you can control the portion sizes and the ingredients and basically what it is. Lunch boxes. Mickey Mouse was the first licensed character, by the way, to appear in a lunch box. That was back in 1935. Some foods pack very well for lunch, others really not so much. Hard-boiled eggs are a no-brainer there. Fresh vegetables, fruit, yogurt, general snacks, cheese, crackers, nuts. You can kind of snack on that all day. Treat your body a little bit better by bringing your own lunch to work. You can just sit there and eat at your desk. You can also maybe, if you take a lunch hour, but if you only take about 10 minutes to eat lunch at your desk, you can get out the door perhaps a little bit earlier. I had a Johnny Quest lunchbox when I was a kid. Yeah, that was one of my favorite cartoons. I wish I still had it. Anyway, bring your own lunch to work today, all right? 31 minutes after the hour, today in history. Today is Three Flags Day in St. Louis. This was the official ceremony, the formal ceremony that was conducted in St. Louis to transfer ownership of the Louisiana Territory from France to the United States. It was actually, the reason that they called it Three Flags Day is there's three countries. People forget about Spain. Spain said, hey, we got some territory here too. So how they did this whole ceremony thing is that Spain officially gave their colonial territory to France, who then turned around and gave it to the United States. And so the Louisiana Purchase was finalized, so to speak. And then, of course, Thomas Jefferson called up Meriwether Lewis and Bill Clark and said, hey, guys, pack a lunch. You're going to the Pacific Ocean. You can even borrow Danny's Johnny Quest lunchbox. Three Flags Day in St. Louis today. Fulgencio Batista had a problem. He was running for the presidency of Cuba, and he was going to lose, and he knew it. He used to be the president of Cuba, Fulgencio Batista, and then he was no longer president. He moved to Florida. Then in 1952, he came back to Cuba to run for the presidency again, and a couple of weeks before the actual presidential election, Batista took one look around and said, I'm going to lose, and I'm going to lose bad, so he just led a coup. He said, since I'm going to lose the presidency, I'm going to declare myself the provincial president and throw the old guy out. And they let him do it. He got his comeuppance 8 years later, but this was in 1952. 21 years ago now, on this date in March 10th, 2000, the NASDAQ Composite Stock Index peaked at 5,132 points. The dot-com boom subsequently came to an end. A lot of internet companies, they became paper millionaires with their IPO, their initial public offerings, but it was just paper. And when their stocks began to collapse, they went from being paper millionaires to having no money at all. The beginning of the end of the dot-com boom began on this date back in 2000. And it's official 1 year ago today, March 10th, 2020. The World Health Organization declares the COVID-19 situation an official pandemic. 1 year ago today. All right, birthdays. The great Jim Valvano, always, of course, associated with the 1983 National Championship game when his North Carolina State Wolfpack upset the Houston Cougars. Jim Valvano, born in the state in 1946, died of cancer at the age of 47 in 1993. He wrote a book, and it's entitled, They Gave Me a Lifetime Contract, and Then They Declared Me Dead. The great Jim Valvano, born in the state of 1946. Rick Rubin, the American record producer who's worked with everybody, you name it, everybody. Adele, Linkin Park, AC/DC, Kanye West, Johnny Cash, Tom Petty, Justin Timberlake, Metallica. Rick Rubin, American record producer, 63 years old today. Poor Prince Edward keeps getting bumped down the list. He's 57 years old today. He's the youngest child of the Queen. When he was born, 57 years ago today in 1964, he was third in line to the crown. Now he's 12th because all of his siblings kept having babies and then their babies had babies. Prince Edward, he ain't never going to be king, but he celebrates a birthday today. And Carrie Underwood celebrates birthday number 38, rose to fame, of course, on American Idol. Going to take a break. When we come back, Mike McNally's got an opinion, then my conversation with Eric West from Link Transit. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, in high school, my friend Fritz and his girlfriend Maria, they started asking me to go out on their dates with them. Now, this was because Maria had a friend Sally who liked me, and Maria always arranged for this kind of double date kind of thing. Now, I really wasn't into Sally, but to be nice, I'd have to go to her door and pick her up, you know, and then go out with Fritz and Maria. But about the third time this happened, Sally's parents met me at the door, and they said I couldn't pick up Sally anymore until I combed my hair and tucked in my shirt. I turned around and walked out. Oh, Sally came running out a few minutes early, really angry, and said she told her parents to mind their own doggone business. But honestly, this was the last time I picked up Sally. You know, memories of youth and dating, they're sometimes not all they're cracked up to be. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Chelan Wireless is your Verizon authorized retailer featuring the latest iPhone and Android devices. Personal or business, they have the plan and the customer service you're looking for.
In these challenging times, Bear Foods is open and ready to help. From health to diet to home, we are here to take care of your needs. Bear Foods, the good food store.
From home furnishings to the latest in home entertainment technology, Deepwater Home and Electronics can provide the selection and the connection for your wireless world. Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Back in August of 2019, voters that constitute the area that Link Transit serves rather overwhelmingly approved some increases to make Link more efficient and better and more routes, Sunday services. A lot of these things have already begun to make their presence felt. It passed overwhelmingly. 58% to 42% of the voters said we like Link and we want Link to keep going and even maybe do a little better. And that's what we're here to talk about, because it's now time for you to chime in on routes and schedules and scenarios. And here to talk about that is Eric West with Link Transit. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in and joining us. I appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you. Great to be here.
It's good to see you. So the whole idea behind this is, and Eric and I were talking about this off camera, Link is not in the business to tell you what the routes are going to be. They want you, the Link users, to say, what would you like to see Link do as far as routes and services, maybe cutting some back and picking some up. And so they're going to ask you to take a survey, and that's what Eric is here to talk about. So the sales tax was improved. Some of those elements that were talked about when the sales tax was first floated back in August of 2019, that's already been implemented.
A few of them, yes.
Such as?
We started Sunday service in July of 2020. We increased a little bit of weekday service, just really moderately. But with the COVID thing going on, we really did not do what the full plan had called for. Just we didn't feel it was appropriate from a financial standpoint, nor was the ridership there to really justify adding a lot more service. Sunday service was something that was relatively easy to do, and we figured it would have a pretty big payback right away, which it has. So,
and now it's on to the next phase, which is what the riders want to see Link doing.
Exactly. We've had a consultant on board since about April of last year who's gone through our system really at a detailed level, looking at what's working, what's not, things that could be improved, and what they've come up with now are like 3 different scenarios of what service could look like. So we're asking for feedback on those, and they're actually they're route by route. What the different routes that it currently exist, they may be adjusted, they may be changed slightly, they may be eliminated and replaced with something totally different. So we're asking for people to look at that survey, whether it's just at a couple routes or the whole thing, to see really what works for them on a detail level.
When COVID first broke out, one of the initial changes that was made to link transit to the riders was that a lot of the fares, if not all of them, were waived completely.
Exactly.
So I guess my question is, Eric, how does one know without an actual something like fares to give you a hard number? How do you know how many people are riding each route each day? How do you keep track of that without people actually paying fares?
We have, in late 2019, we installed a whole new system on our buses that's a GPS locator system, so we know where the buses are in real time. And a part of that project was automated passenger counters. So every time an individual gets on the bus or gets off, it's recorded automatically. So we can actually look at a vehicle in real time and know how many people are on that bus, which has been a great help during COVID, because we have to limit the number of folks on the bus anyway. So we can say, okay, this route typically carries, X number of people, so do we need to add extra buses, things like that. And the passenger, the customer, can go in using the app and see how many people are on the bus too, prior to when they're getting on it. So that's how we track it.
That makes perfect sense to me. Prior to the COVID world that we live in, one of the routes that I noticed that was always busy, those were the commuter routes, the park and rides, located in various locations, Old Station, Leavenworth. A lot of people living in the outskirts of the valley but live in the Wenatchee Valley, and they were taking fairly big advantage of the park and rides, parking at the lots and taking the bus in.
Yeah, we had a lot of folks who were coming from Leavenworth or Chelan into Wenatchee to either go to work or school, things like that. And the opposite was true as well. There was a number of people who lived in the Wenatchee area who worked in some of those outlying communities, primarily the hospitality folks, things like that, because the cost of living in those smaller, tourist communities is extremely high. So it made sense for them, to live here and take the bus. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of that go away with COVID. The people have either not been working, or their jobs have been curtailed, or things like that. So there's some changes that have happened that have just really been out of our control that have affected ridership there. So we're looking to bring some of that back with the post-COVID world, with some improved services and shorter travel times and changes and things like that. So,
well, let's talk about the survey. It's easy for you to take. It's ready to go. You can log on anytime you want and take it at your own convenience. There it is up on the screen. Eric, walk us through what you're looking for the key messages and maybe some of the scenarios that you're talking about. That's available for you to chime in on the survey as you see here.
Yeah, so each scenario that they've put together has kind of a specific purpose. Some of them, one scenario is to, improve coverage. Another one is to make trips shorter. And I can't recall quite what the third one might be, but they're all outlined very detailed on the survey. Basically what we're trying to do with this whole effort is make transit more efficient, both in terms of operating it and efficiency in terms of from the user's perspective. It's more competitive with the vehicle. It's easier to access. The routes may be a little closer to your home or your work. They may come by either place more often, so you don't have as long of a wait, things like that. It's more accessible. It's just, there's a lot of things that go into that convenience equation. But really, we're wanting to make transit more accessible, more convenient, more easy for everybody to use, whether you're a kid, a working guy or gal, or a senior, disabled, really anybody. So.
Is this survey designed specifically, again, we're talking Eric West from Link Transit, specifically for those people who are regular Link riders, or maybe even, or maybe some people who, gee, I'd ride Link more if it was more convenient for me, so maybe I should chime in on this too. Who would you like to see take this survey?
Short answer, Dan, everybody. Everybody who has an interest in transit, the current users especially, because the impacts to the service changes will affect them more likely than not. But folks who, they would say, I would ride it if, the bus came by my house more often, or it came by earlier. I need to be at work at 7, so I need a bus that comes by my house at 6:30. Or I need to get to a place that I can't on the bus, things like that. So all these different scenarios offer a variety of changes that may or may not work for people. So what we're looking for is kind of the best of the best. We're not going to take one of these scenarios in total and implement it. It could be a little bit of number one, a little bit of number two, and a little bit of number three, kind of whatever that floats to the top as a result of people's feedback. So.
What do you hear from some of the major employers who depend on Link to get their employees to their packing shed or their manufacturing concern, be it Stamilt or the Wenatchee School District or Confluence Health, some of these large employers, do they have some input in some of this?
We're hoping that their employees really dive deep into this. We have had a partnership with Confluence Health for, I think, going on about 9 years, where they provide transit passes to all their employees who wish to have one. The biggest thing we hear from those folks is either late night service, after like 8 o'clock, getting back to Leavenworth or Chelan for those folks who work a 12-hour shift, or the amount of time it takes to get from East Wenatchee to Central Washington Hospital. Currently, it requires at least 1 to 2 transfers, and it could take 45 minutes or close to an hour to make that trip, which most people can probably make in 15 or 20 in a car, depending on where in East Wenatchee they're living. So there's things like that we're hoping we can improve out of this. Crunch Pack in Cashmere has always been a big user of our service. Again, we have a fare program with them, and just because of the pay scale at that place, a little bit lower income, heavily Hispanic, they're predisposed to using transit. They are a very big user of this service. So we're hoping that they can look at this and say, boy, some of these changes would be great for our employees, would perhaps make it easier for more of them to use it, reduce parking issues and improve employee attendance and things like that. So.
There are 3 scenarios, service scenarios. Just briefly, I'll mention what they are. Scenario 1 is improving services that already exist, the most popular routes. How do you make those sustained and continue to go? Scenario 2 is providing coverage to many parts of Chelan and Douglas counties by adding some new routes, possibly. And scenario 3, the one I find the most fascinating, kind of ties in with what we were just talking about, focuses on connecting destinations in Chelan and Douglas counties, but cutting down on transfers, having to get off one bus and get on another bus, and then get off that bus and go on another bus. Those are the 3 that you're concentrating on.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it all boils down to making it easy. If you have to change buses and you're not sure if the bus that you're waiting on is going to get there on time, it's a barrier to people's use. Transit's not something people are born with the innate ability and so forth to use. So making it as simple and seamless and easy as we can is really our primary goal in this, to get those folks to try us out, see what it does for them, and then hopefully they like it enough that they continue to ride on a somewhat regular or even high frequency basis. So
Link's headquarters is actually out in Old Station. That's where the bus garages are, the administration offices, maintenance, and things like that. But the hub of the Link service is not too far from our studios, the Link transfer station in downtown Wenatchee. Is there thought of maybe a secondary, smaller transfer station for those people who need to get from point A to point B but don't have to go to downtown to do it?
We've thought about that a little bit, and it's really been more conversation and just kind of high-level thinking of having someplace in the North Wenatchee end, perhaps around Valley North Center, things like that, that a little more, the buses coming from the north end could all connect with buses coming from the south end there. Whether it makes sense to do it, we don't know. It would take a fair amount of work to decide, to determine if that is something that's really worthy of the effort and the expense and so forth. So, but we're looking at some routes that instead of stopping at Columbia Station, they perhaps just through trip from East Wenatchee to Walmart, for example. It might be just a flyer stop where it just comes in, kind of touch and go. People get on and off rather than the bus wait and connect with another route there. So things like that just eliminates that need to get off one vehicle and get on another one, and perhaps wait for 5 or 10 minutes while everything connects and then disperses like they currently do. So.
I know a lot of your coach operators. They're all pros, by the way. It's not an easy job to drive a Link bus, but the coach operators are professionals to the core. They're also a bit outgoing because you kind of have to be.
Sure, it's
when you deal with the general public. What do you talk to your coach operators? Do they come back with some feedback saying, I've heard for some riders and they say, wouldn't this be more convenient? Or as I drive around, I find this might be problematic. What do you hear from your coach operators?
We do. We have a really open door policy at Link where our coach operators are welcome to, comment or make suggestions on specific things that would improve a route. Sometimes they're just the pass through from a passenger. But yeah, we're always looking for comments that would help improve our service. And obviously we can't implement everything on like an immediate basis, but we kind of wait until we have a bunch of those and we look at them from all angles and say, okay, this really makes sense. Do we need to take this stop out because it's unsafe, or there's a better place to put it that would be easier for the bus to get in and out? And with traffic changes in our valley, we're always kind of having to look at things and re-examine and make sure that it's working for us operationally as well as the passengers. So it's an ongoing balancing act, so to speak.
Well, being a resident in the downtown core area, the two things I've noticed that I really appreciate from Link is the Sunday service seems to be going quite well. That was a big thing.
That was a big thing.
I work on Sundays and I still got to get to my job and I can't get there because there's no public transportation.
Exactly.
Now there is.
Yep.
And the new clean buses, I'm liking those. The old spitting the diesel gunk out of the back of that. Yerks to that, but these new clean buses are phenomenal.
Yeah, we have 10 electric vehicles in our fleet, which it's been a long struggle. We've been working on the electric project for, as I can recall, about 10 or 11 years, and we really went through the ringer on it. But the current vehicles we're operating, we've had them in our fleet for, I believe, about 2 years. Some of them not quite that long. We got them in phases, but they're working exceptionally well. We've had a good chance to test them in all kinds of weather, and they're proving to be very reliable. And the drivers like them, the passengers like them. So it's been finally a big win for us after a long uphill battle. So, yeah.
A couple more items with Eric West, and we'll cut him loose. He's a busy guy. We mentioned coach operators. How you doing on that? You need help? You need help wanted signs out there for some coach operators?
We're not hiring currently. We've been hiring coach operators pretty steadily the last couple of years. We have some attrition, just aging folks who are leaving. And with our expanded service last summer, I think we brought in 18 or 20 new ones. So with this expanded service here, that's going to, when we do this expansion based on the survey results, it probably won't really start happening until sometime in 2022. And it will be very likely phased in over a 6 or 8 or maybe even 12-month period or longer, depending on the scope of changes. So we will very likely need additional coach operators at some point in that process. When, it's hard to know. That's a whole other department that I'm try to stay out of.
As Eric mentioned, the folks at Link would like to have everybody take the survey, which is available for you online. If you just go to Link's website, it's right there. Doesn't take a great deal of time, but your input is what counts because you're the customers, not Link. Where do we go from here? What do people do to take the survey? Give me a timeline, all that stuff, all that information that people need to know that we might have not touched on yet.
Right now, the consultant has developed a microsite that is www.movinglinkforward.com, and that's where the survey can be accessed, as well as some information on the study that they've done. They have I believe it's a 300-page document, so something to read over your coffee for the next 2 weeks or so. But it really lays out the current state of Link Transit, looking at our operations, our vehicles, all sorts of things about our organization. And the survey link is there as well. There is also on the 17th of March, Wednesday, next week at noon, we're having a Facebook Live event where people can kind of have some two-way conversations with us and the consultants to get specific questions answered. So just follow us on our Facebook page, Link Transit, and we'll put some notices out on that event here, just kind of to remind people starting later this week that that's coming up at noon on the 17th, so they can log in, view that, get questions answered, and just learn a few more details that they may have specifically, for their situation. So,
as the valley continues to grow, and it will continue to grow, the Wenatchee Valley, the Upper Valley, Chelan, Leavenworth, Cashmere, the need for public transportation is going to increase, not decrease.
It is. I mean, just talking to people here this last few months, there's building projects going in everywhere, and not small ones. Hundreds of homes going in. I think I heard yesterday that Douglas County is looking at 3,000 new residences being built in the next several years.
And almost all of them in the greater East Wenatchee area.
Yeah. And Wenatchee has 2 or 3 on the planning phase of several hundred or more. So that's a lot of new people in town and a lot of cars, and they're not building more roads with those houses. So we're hopeful that we can build a system that will help accommodate all those new folks moving into our valley. Some could be retired. Some could have families with kids that need a way to get to school or jobs or whatever. So we're really wanting to build a system that works for the long haul for our valley as it grows, and it's going to grow a lot in the next 5 to 10 years, it looks like.
And I know any number of people who say it's a no-brainer for me, Eric, because I don't have to worry about car insurance, and I don't have to worry about putting gas in my car and maintenance or having a garage. I can take the bus to work or to pleasure, and I can play on my phone and read my Kindle, and let somebody else do the driving. It saves me a ton of money and a bunch of headaches.
It does. There's been studies done out there by a variety of different agencies and organizations that say that transportation is the second biggest cost to a household over housing. Even if you can save $5,000 or $6,000 or to $8,000 a year by not having that second or third car in your family, that's a big chunk of dough. That's a couple nice vacations, or in addition to your house, or putting kids through college. A variety of different things that money could be better spent on than a vehicle. So, and it just takes cars off the road, which we know our roadways with COVID have been relatively open, but we know when things get back to normal, it could be less desirable to be driving. So.
Whether you use Link or not, it is part of the lifeblood that makes this area go. MovingLinkForward.com, MovingLinkForward.com. Take the survey, go through the scenarios, give them your input, and then they will go forward from there. Next time you want to pay me a visit, all you got to do is give me a buzz, Eric. I'd love to have you on.
Appreciate it, Dan. Thank you very much.
One last question before I cut you loose. How long does the survey stay on before it goes away?
We're asking for folks to get their feedback in by April 2nd, so just about a month.
Just about a month. Yeah. So don't kick the can down the road.
Got plenty of time, but
do it.
But do it, yeah.
But do it. Yep, absolutely.
Great.
Eric West from Link Transit. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Need a break from reality? Central Washington Water has a showroom full of possibilities, with service and support to keep you soaking and giving you the absolute best ownership experience. Free flow plug-and-go spas for as little as $45 a month. There's a hot tub for everyone at Central Washington Water. Shop screen to screen, in-store, or a backyard consultation with one of our wellness team members. Central Washington Water, your water experts.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a 4-letter word.
I think I'll sell my veggies at the market.
Do you even remember to water the house plants? I do this?
You can do this.
Hey, we need to build a home office. We're adding another bathroom.
I think I'll study programming.
Bro, you even connect your phone to Bluetooth.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
You like sunshine? You like nice temperatures? You're going to like the forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, they could see an isolated afternoon shower in some locations in our viewing area, specifically to the north of us. Up in the Waterville Plateau, maybe Chelan Terrace, you could get a pop-up shower late this afternoon. Outside of that, we're going to have some sunshine, but just a few passing high clouds. We'll get up to about 52, 28 for the overnight low tonight. High pressure will be large and in charge by this time Thursday. We're looking at sunshine at 54, and then Friday 57, up near 60 on Saturday. A couple of passing clouds, slightly cooler on Sunday. Outside of that, we have no complaints at all. Right through the rest of the week. Passes are fine, no advisories, no restrictions, and no snow in the forecast for the Cascades as well. So we are starting to see the last few days of spring. Don't forget, we go forward clockwise. Daylight saving time begins on Sunday, and then spring itself on the 20th. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.